Okay, so on note 6.5, we're going to be writing quadratic equations. So we've been given the equation and then we were graphing. So now we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to be given information from the graph or looking at the graph and determining what the equation would be. So remember, when we have vertex form, the vertex is HK. And then remember, when we have root form, those are your x-intercepts. So it's where it crosses your x-axis. And to find your vertex of that, which we won't have to know today, but to find the vertex, it's in the middle of those two roots. And then remember your standard form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? All right, so number 1, write the equation of the quadratic function with roots at 4 and -1 with f of 0 equaling 8. Okay, so f of 0 equals 8. That means that when x is 0, your y is 8. So that's an ordered pair there, 0, 8. We're given roots, so I'm going to call my r1 is 4 and my r2 is -1. So since we're given roots, we're going to plug into the root form. So y equals a times x minus r1 times x minus r2. Now, notice we know R1, R2, X, and Y, so the only thing that we're missing is our A. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find your A on each one of these problems. So I'm going to plug in for Y. Notice on your order pair that you have, it's 8. We don't know A. We know our X value is 0. We're subtracting our R1, which is 4. And then X is 0. We're subtracting our R2, which is a -1. Okay, so now we're going to do what's inside parentheses. So we have 8 equals A, 0 minus 4 is a -4, and then 0 plus 1 is a +1. Okay, so we're multiplying all those together. So we should get 8 equals a -4A. So when you divide by -4, your A would equal a -2. Okay, so once you found A, you're going to plug it back into your form without plugging in for X and Y. So we're going to have Y equals, A is a -2, and then you have X minus your R1, which is 4, and then X minus your R2, which is a -1. So that would be +1. So there's our form. So we have to know the A, because also remember the A determines what type or which way your parabola will open. If it'll open up or open down. Opening up, your A is positive, and then opening down when it's negative. Okay, so looking at number 2, we're writing the equation of your quadratic function with a double root at 4, and f of -1 equals 5. So that ordered pair would be -1, 5. So since we have a double root at 4, that means R1 and R2 is 4. It also means that that's also your vertex. So that's the only place that it crosses the x-axis. All right, so since we're given roots again, we're going to plug it into root form. And then we're going to find A. So y is 5. We don't know A. X is -1 minus R1, which is 4, and then -1 minus R2, which is also 4. So that's going to be -5 and -5. So when I multiply those together, that's going to give me 5 equals 25A. So when I divide by 25, your A would equal 1/5. So that would be a fraction there. So writing your equation, y equals 1/5 x minus 4 times x minus 4, or you can write it as 1/5 times x minus 4 squared, since there's 2 of them. Okay, so looking at example 3, notice this time we're given a graph, so we're going to have to find some information from our graph. It says write the equation of the quadratic pictured below in root form. So we want to find the roots. So where it crosses the x-axis, so I'm going to call R1, the first one, which is 1. R2 would be 3. Again, we're given x and y, so that's 0, negative 12. Move this up some. Okay, so plugging in, we're plugging into root form. So y is negative 12. X is 0 minus R1, which is 1, and then 0 minus 3. So we're going to get negative 12 equals A. That would be negative 1 and negative 3. So multiplying, you're going to get 3A. So divide, so our A would be negative 4. So plugging into your root form, y equals negative 4, x minus 1, and x minus 3. Okay, so that was, let's look at number 4. Notice this time we're given the vertex. Remember, the vertex is h and k when you're talking about your vertex form. Notice we're also given a point, negative 4, negative 13. So I'm going to plug into vertex form. And notice we have x, y, h, and k, but we don't know a. So same thing with the root form. We're going to have to find the a first. So our y is negative 13. And then x is negative 4 minus 3. And then plus your k, which is 1. So order of operations, we need to do what's inside of parentheses first. So that would be negative 7. But we have to square that, so that's going to be 49. Now right here, you cannot add 49 and 1 because 49 you're multiplying by a. So go ahead and put 49 in front of a so that way you don't try and add the 1. Okay, so now we're getting a by itself, so we'll subtract 1. So negative 14 equals 49a. And then divide by 49. So your a would equal, reducing the fraction, that would be negative 2. Hang on. Over 7 for your a. So plugging into your vertex form, y equals negative 2 over 7. X minus your h, which is your x value of your vertex, 3, k, or squared, and then plus k, so plus 1. So there's your vertex form. Excuse me. All right, so let's look at 5. Doing the same thing. Vertex is hk, and then we're given the point 5, 6. Okay, so we're plugging into vertex form. Y is 6. We don't know a. X is 5 minus h. Notice we're plugging in a negative 1. So that will end up giving you a plus there. And then we're adding k, but k is negative, so we'll put minus 6. So the inside parentheses, that would be 6, but we have to square that. So that would be 36a minus 6. So we'll add 6, and you get 12 equals 36a. So reducing it, a would be 1/3. So plugging back into your vertex form, y equals 1/3. X minus a -1, so that should be x plus 1 squared, and then minus 6. Okay, looking at the next one, we have a graph. Notice that it says write the equation in vertex form. So we need to find the vertex. So looking at that graph, it actually already tells us the vertex would equal -2, -2. And then we're given the point 0, 1. So we're plugging into vertex form. So y is 1, a we don't know, x is 0, minus your h, which is a -2, so that will make it plus 2 squared, and then minus 2. So inside parentheses, that's 2, but we have to square it, so that's going to give you a 4a, and then we'll add 2 to both sides. So you should end up with 3 equals 4 over a. So when you divide, a would equal 3/4. Okay, so writing your equation, y equals 3/4, x minus your h, which is a -2, so that'll make it plus 2 squared, and then plus your k, so that's minus 2. Okay, the last one here, we are going to write the quadratic function in standard form for the parabola that passes through the 3 points. So we want standard form. That's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so when you're given 3 points and it asks to put it in standard form, you're going to set up a table and you're going to plug those points into your calculator. So on your calculator, you're going to go to Stat, and you're going to go to Edit, and you're going to type in your x values in L1, your y values in L2. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to go back to Stat, and you're going to go over to Calc, and then we are trying to find the quadratic function, okay? Linear we were talking about earlier in the year, but we're talking about quadratic this time. So notice number 5 says quadratic, so if you press 5, you'll go down to Calculate, and then it should give you your A, B, and C. So you'll plug in to your standard form. So y equals a -4 x squared plus 18x minus 19. So you're plugging in, you're finding your A, B, and C, and once you have those, you're just plugging it into your standard form.